The conflict we know as the Cold War was not decided by tanks or missiles. It was decided in the shadows, with silicon, software, and the invisible weapon of economic strangulation. This file, marked Top Secret, details a calculated act of sabotage, a covert technological strike against the heart of the Soviet Union's financial future. This is the true declassified story of how the United States, under President Ronald Reagan, approved a plan to intentionally slip poisoned computer code into a vital Soviet pipeline system. The result? The most monumental non-nuclear explosion in history, a blast seen from space, and a devastating blow to the Soviet economy that pushed a superpower closer to collapse. By the end of this report, you will understand the terrifying power of weaponized technology, the origins of modern cyber warfare, and the true cost of the economic battle being waged today against nations like Russia. The oil line, Moscow's lifeblood. To understand the scope of the sabotage, you must first understand the stakes. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, the Soviet Union was sinking. The centralized economy was crumbling, and its only true lifeline was energy. Moscow was building a colossal, multi-billion-dollar Trans-Siberian pipeline designed to pump vast amounts of natural gas to be sold to energy-hungry nations in Western Europe. This wasn't just gas, it was hard currency, dollars, marks, and francs. This revenue was essential for the Soviet military machine. For the US, this pipeline was a direct political threat. The challenge was that the Soviets lacked the advanced technology. They couldn't buy it legally. So the KGB was dispatched to steal it. The defector and the wish list. Unbeknownst to the KGB, the CIA had caught a lucky break. In 1981, a high-ranking KGB officer, Vladimir Vetrov, codenamed Farewell, walked into the French intelligence office and offered a trove of secrets. The Farewell Dossier was a gold mine. It included the names of hundreds of Soviet agents, and more importantly, a precise technological wish list, the exact military and industrial blueprints the Soviet Union was most desperate to acquire. The opportunity. The KGB's shopping list included the specific proprietary software needed to control the new Trans-Siberian gas pipeline. The revelation wasn't that the Soviets were stealing. The revelation was that the CIA now knew exactly what the Soviets were looking for, and who was looking for it. This knowledge created an unprecedented opportunity for a secret, decisive act of economic warfare. The Americans had a choice: simply arrest the Soviet spies and expose their theft, or turn the KGB's own espionage machine against itself. The CIA chose the path of digital deception, launching a strategy known as the Deception Program. The mission was simple: flood the market with technology that would work for a while, then fail catastrophically. The US began cooperating with allied firms, specifically targeting the Soviet industrial espionage ring known as Line X. The goal was to poison the well from which the Soviets were drinking. The CIA and the FBI worked together to slip microchips and blueprints to the KGB, all of it sabotaged. The technology was deliberately engineered to fail only after installation, when it was too late to replace. The weapon. The crown jewel of this operation was the pipeline software. The KGB successfully penetrated a software supplier in Canada to steal the crucial operating system for the Siberian gas pipeline. Unbeknownst to the thieves, the CIA had already intervened. Working with the software developers, the CIA inserted a concealed program, a logic bomb, into the code. This logic bomb was a Trojan horse. It was designed to run the complex array of pumps and turbines perfectly for months. The failure was designed to be so complete that the Soviets would have no one to blame but themselves. In January 1982, CIA Director William Casey presented the audacious sabotage plan to President Ronald Reagan. Declassified accounts confirm Reagan approved the plan enthusiastically. This was not a military engagement. This was a war for economic survival, fought with compromised software and political will. The genius of the logic bomb lay in its timing. This wasn't a glitch. It was a time-delayed financial weapon. The software was waiting. It was programmed to reset the operational parameters of the entire system. Specifically, it instructed the pumps and valves to reset at intervals, increasing pressure far beyond the safety tolerance of the pipeline's joints and welds. The entire line became a slow-motion pressure cooker.
The hidden attack. The sabotage was so subtle, mimicking a simple software failure, that Soviet engineers spent precious weeks attempting to correct the bugs, only to have the logic bomb reset the dangerous pressures again. They kept pushing the system harder to maintain the gas flow, which was exactly what the CIA's poisoned software intended. The pressure built and built across thousands of miles of frozen tundra. It was a digital siege designed to destroy physical infrastructure. When did the pressure finally exceed the breaking point? And how did Washington know almost instantly that their devastating plot had succeeded? On a cold night in 1982, the system failed. The final, overwhelming pressure led to simultaneous ruptures along hundreds of miles of the Trans-Siberian line. The resulting explosion, deep in the desolate Siberian wilderness, vaporized massive segments of the pipeline. The flames shot hundreds of feet into the sky. The fire was so intense, so huge, that it registered on U.S. infrared surveillance satellites. At the White House, the intelligence reports initially triggered alarms, as the heat signature resembled a tactical nuclear weapon launch. A CIA operative quickly rushed to brief officials, confirming that the bizarre event was not a missile launch, but the successful activation of the logic bomb. It was, according to internal memos, the most monumental non-nuclear explosion and fire ever seen from space. And the Soviets had no idea who to blame. While there were few, if any, physical casualties due to the remote location, the financial impact was devastating. The loss of billions in hard currency compounded the Soviet Union's economic woes. Just as crucial was the psychological damage. The Soviets were left in crippling doubt. Which other stolen technologies were contaminated? Every piece of Western software, every microchip was now suspect. The sabotage was a calculated act of economic warfare that severely accelerated the Soviet Union's collapse. The sabotage eventually came to light only decades later through declassified reports and memoirs. Why does this single, covert act of economic warfare still hold profound lessons for today's geopolitical landscape? This operation remains a chilling precursor to modern cyber warfare. Today, pipelines, power grids, and financial systems are all managed by software, and all of it is vulnerable. The historical plot to sabotage the Siberian pipeline directly informs current U.S. and European strategy regarding energy dependence on Russia and the use of economic sanctions. The weapon of choice is no longer an ICBM, it is the logic bomb, the time-delayed piece of code that can bring a nation's critical infrastructure to its knees without firing a single shot. The declassified details of File 22.8 reveal that the financial security of nations relies on invisible layers of code, often stolen, always compromised. The monumental blast in the Siberian tundra was a warning shot from the dawn of the digital age. In the new economic world order, trust is expensive, and technological dependence is fatal.